The Denver Nuggets are the future of the NBA's Western Conference. All right. Now, this may sound stupid to some people, as many have already given up on them for this playoffs since they're down 2-0 to the Lakers. But considering they already came back 3-1 twice this playoffs, and game two was incredibly close, and the Nuggets only lost because of a ridiculous game winner by Anthony Davis. I don't like Anthony Davis, but freaking incredible game winner. All right. So, I have not given up on the Nuggets this playoffs, but that's not what I'm here to talk about today. Okay? For the next 5 years, I think the Nuggets are going to be the team to beat in the West. All right? They have an incredible future. All right? They've proved it that they are already here and they're ready to be contenders this season. And I think they're just going to keep getting better, okay? They only have one player on their entire roster who's over the age of 30, and that's Paul Millsap. All right. Everybody else is young. Jokic is 25. Murray is like 22. Porter Jr. is something like 22. They got Bol, who has quite a bit of potential. They got these guys like Monte Morris and Gary Harris. All right. They have a ton of young guys with a lot of talent. Jeremy Grant also has been fucking fantastic this playoffs. God, I wish he was on the Sixers. Okay. He's lighting it up from 3 point range. He's playing great defense. Gary Harris is like low key their third star until I mean, I'm obviously over exaggerating, but until Michael Porter Jr. gets there, and I think he will get there in a few years. Jeremy Grant is freaking an amazing role player for the Nuggets. All right, he looks like Klay Thompson these playoffs. It's been crazy. So are the Nuggets really that good, though? Yeah, I think they are. All right. Nikola Jokic, not even yet in his prime. He's been healthy throughout his career. He's gotten better every year. He is easily the best passing big man in the league. I'd say it's between him and Embiid for who's the best center, and I mean, I'm obviously biased, okay, so I think it's Embiid is better, but if you factor in health, it's definitely Jokic, because Jokic does not have the same injury issues Embiid has. He's not great on defense, but there's no question he's better. He's the best offensive center in the league. I'd say he's better than Anthony Davis, which is not a popular opinion, as I learned when I said this on Instagram the other day, but I definitely do think he's the best big man in the playoffs right now. He's better than AD. All right? And he's just going to keep getting better. Jamal Murray, finally breaking out this playoffs, okay? He's going to be an all-star in the next 2 seasons, I believe, okay? Not a great defender, amazing scorer. He looks it reminds me a little bit of Kemba Walker in my mind. Kemba, Kyrie, kind of like them. Not on their same level, obviously, but he can absolutely be the second star. Michael Porter Jr., he's not there yet, but he's shown a ton of potential. Give him a few years, he's going to be one of the NBA's leading scorers, okay? He has an amazing future. Jeremy Grant, amazing player. All right. They got a lot of young pieces, and I think the Nuggets this offseason can do two things. They can either keep their roster together and keep going. They also have an amazing coach, by the way, Mike Malone, probably the most underrated coach in the NBA at the moment. But they've got all these great players. They could absolutely make a trade. I think that a good trade for the Nuggets might be trading Monte Morris or Gary Harris, whichever one's a better 3 point shooter, to the Sixers for Josh Richardson, as he's on an expiring deal. Jay Rich, the Nuggets can actually afford to extend his contract. He's young, he fits with their roster, and he's not as good of a shooter, but he's a much better defender, and their team desperately needs some perimeter defense, okay? They really just need a great perimeter defender, and they're set. Maybe they trade for Drew Holiday. I don't know. They have a ton of assets. You know, they got all their picks as far as I'm aware. They got all these young guys. They can either trade for a defender next year, or they can keep waiting and they can keep going with the roster they have. The Nuggets are so set for the future. It is ridiculous. Okay? Completely set. I'm really jealous that they have such good management there. I wish the Sixers had done such a good job. All right, and for the next 5 years, who else is there in the West? Kawhi and Paul George. They're both getting older. Paul George is injured every year. Okay, they're having issues. Lou Williams is getting older. They're not going to be, next year they're still going to be contenders, but after that, Kawhi and Paul George could just leave. They're not on contracts forever. They could just leave, And with the way the NBA is right now, I'd be surprised if they didn't leave unless they win the title next year. The Lakers. LeBron James is getting older, okay? And, it's never smart to bet against LeBron James, but At some point in the next 5 years, LeBron James is going to stop being the best player in the league. It's going to happen eventually. He can't stay that good forever. Okay? Then you got other teams, the Jazz, the Rockets. They're going to be decent, but I don't think they're going to be legit title contenders. Okay? The Mavs, they're not quite there yet. I think it's going to be between the Mavs and the Nuggets for the next 5 years in the West. I really do. Hey, thank you for taking the time out of your day to watch my video. I really appreciate it, and if you could subscribe, I'd appreciate that even more.